How you guys doing? My name is Randy. I've been an audio engineer for 16 years, full time. I've made a lot of songs. I've made a lot of beats. I've worked with a lot of musicians. Out of all my years, I never thought that I would be replaced by a computer. So today I'm making my second video talking about Suno and using it to see, is AI going to replace me? Is my job doomed? Should I be scared for my life? All jokes aside, I constantly see people on one side or the other. They're either extremely angry at AI, and in my last video, one of the comments told me to put the crack pipe down because I was being a delusional Suno influencer or something. On the other side of the aisle is people that are incredibly into Suno, almost so much so that they're not even interested in actually opening up a DAW and working on it. So I would like to make a video somewhere in the middle, somewhere where all this craziness doesn't apply. I want to see how you could use Suno as a tool in the real world. For those of you making songs that you don't want riddled with AI, but you want to use it as a tool, this little series that I'm making is for you. For those of you who use Suno exclusively and don't know how to bring it into the normal way that most people make music, this is also a video for you. If you hate Suno, comment down below, help me with that algorithm. Let me know how much you hate it. Let's get into it. So this time around, I wanted to sing a melody, have AI kind of remix it, and bring it into the genre that I would like, which is a little bit of a lo-fi hip-hop mixed with R&B. Same thing as last time. I just want to share with you the process of what I'm thinking, how I'm doing this, and how I think you could level up your production level if you are using Suno, or if you're not using Suno. Either or. So the first thing that I did was I recorded some amazing vocals. Now, if you guys don't know, I'm an incredible singer. Wasn't that amazing? For the 3 people left. Okay, let's get into this. I generated 3 different things. One of the things that I did was just let AI generate its own prompt based off of what I was singing. And what it did was it created a beatbox situation because it heard me beatboxing and thought that would be really cool if we made that. So here's what that sounds like. I like the little vocal singing stuff, and I actually want to incorporate that into what I'm making. I had to reprompt it and tell it, hey, don't do that. I didn't tell you to do that. What I wanted to do was prompt it to actually do the lo-fi R&B genre, so I had to rewrite the prompt. It was really hard labor, you know. For all of you guys that hate Suno, it was so hard to do this. It was just, man, I was sweating. My underboobs were sweating. It was just a real hard time. I just want you guys to know that, you know, train your whole lives that this is so much harder than that. Anyways, okay, so I got this here. This is the actual thing that I want. So that's the feel that I want to go for. And I actually want to incorporate some of the sounds from this here. So what I'm going to do is show you guys how I do that. First thing I need to do is get the actual tempo from the main sample that I'm going with. If you guys have used Suno for long, you'll know that it loves to variate tempos. So the first thing that I'm going to do is use Pro Tools to tempo map things using our good old-fashioned beat detective. Let's double check what we got going on here. Okay, so let's zoom in. I'm just going to show you this real quick here. This is a great way to get the tempo. Okay, let's go in here. We're going to zoom. Now, I don't like guessing around here. We're not guessing around. we're going to find out exactly what the tempo is here. Okay, we're going to capture that. We're going to force the grid to say bar 1 to bar 3. Let's get that. Okay, so now if we're looking here, okay. Uh-oh. It looks like at a certain point, the timing gets a little different. Looks like we're going to have to tempo map this. Let me show you what that is. So if you zoom in here, I set the grid to the beats so I set the grid to the specific tempo starting from here to here. And I can look over here and check the timing here. Oh, looks like it's getting a little further away. Looks like it's getting a little bit further away, a little further away. Okay, so let's just go ahead and go to right here. Looks like we got something going on. I'm going to select it and make sure that I'm on the right selection. This is so much easier at my studio. There we go. Let's capture the selection. Bar 3 to bar 8 looks correct. Okay. So now so far I've got two different tempos set. 83.2972 and 83.1757. And we don't need this to be 100% perfect. We're just looking to get it pretty dang close here. Pretty dang close. So I'm going to go from here to here. Has a little breakdown point. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now, if this was a live band, it'd be acceptable for this to not be played to a metronome. But this is 2026 where we don't allow that. We're going to get it pretty close. Again, we don't have to be perfect. Now, I want you guys to let me know, in your DAW, are you able to tempo map in this kind of way? Is it easier? Is it so much better to auto tempo map it? Now, I don't really trust the auto scenarios that much. I would just like to do it manually, just for right now. Just because I have to automatically check anyways what this is doing. Oh, look at that. They gave us a nice little ending. That's always nice. You know, sometimes Suno likes to cut off. Likes to cut off our dreams. If you guys use Pro Tools and you think that there's a better way to do this, why don't you let me know in the comments? All you FL guys out there, what do you think? Okay, look at all those tempo differences. Somehow, AI is more live than the average musician. If you guys haven't picked up on this, I'm being very sarcastic today. I'm being very sarcastic. Why am I being sarcastic? It's because I've been doing this for so long. I see a lot of hysteria and hype and lies and manipulation in the music business. I see a lot of hope, dreams, success. I see all these different things all mingling together and confusing each other. And one thing that I could tell you, if you want to be successful in the music industry, consistency is key. Something like this coming along, I don't think it's going to take my job yet. It's going to be because I'm not adapting well enough, or I'm not learning new trades and constantly trying to see what's out there and how that works. For example, how to promote yourself as a musician nowadays versus 15 years ago is insanely different. Completely different rules. I mean, even next year, Google might change their search terms and all of a sudden things will become obsolete. So we have to be able to adapt. And this is one of the reasons why I'm trying to learn AI right now, is just so I know it as a tool. Do I think that I'm going to use it in the future after this first month of this trial that I'm doing? I don't know. I'll let you know at the end of the video. Let's hear this next part. And it's semi-close. Again, we are not worried about being perfectionists here. Let's capture that selection. 76.6. Now, our original tempo way over here is faster than that. So we're going to eventually take this beatbox stuff and speed it up. Let's see here. Did it stay on tempo? Oh no. It doesn't look like it did. Let's continue on with the tempo mapping. Every time it does a breakdown, I notice that it likes to change the tempo even more than usual. So we're just going to do the breakdown separate. I can see that's the end, and they just loved to slow that down at the end. Like the musicians that they stole this from. Can we make the comment section the most heated comment section of all time? That's what I'm going for. So here's the magic here. We have all these tempo points, and I don't like those. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take these, we're going to select them all. You know, let's go to Xform. Let's render these things. That's going to be the high quality time stretch operations. Switch it to ticks. And then I'm going to go through and see all these, select all these tempo markers here. Bam. I'm going to delete them. Do you guys see what I just did there? I made everything the exact same tempo. Now, what I would like to do is just have a nice round number, because we're going to take the human feel out of this AI. It's too human. This AI is too human. Okay, let's play this together. I now have conformed the tempo to be exactly the same. Maybe there's a couple little tiny hits that aren't exactly right, but it's close enough for right now. What I'm going to do now is take the parts that I like and tear it apart. It's okay that things aren't lining up 100%, because we're going to be able to take this in two directions right now for two different types of Suno users. One, we could sample this like a hip hop song, and what I personally think is probably the best thing to do for what I would do. As much as I like the composition of AI, it's just not, it doesn't fulfill me to just let it be the way it is. So I have to tear it apart, keep some pieces, rebuild it the way that I like. The next thing you could do is kind of leave it the way it is, try to loop it right, and build it out further. Again, this isn't about just prompting a song and then releasing it as is. I still need the percentage to be heavily in my favor on this creation side, because other than that, why would I do this? I know some people like just play guitar or just play the fiddle or write poetry and use Suno to kind of supplement the rest of this. But this little series that I'm trying to make, this little tiny series, is trying to let you guys know that you can go further with this in your own creative ways. By getting a DAW, by getting some instruments, and trying to figure out ways that you could do it. Yes, AI is going to do it better than me, but I don't care about that. That's not like, I can only be honest with myself and with everybody else that this is something that is only going to be good if it comes from me. And what that means is that even if my voice cracks, or I have problems, or I'm not the best keyboard player, or whatever it is, that's still my contribution to music. And if I need to get better, then simply I just need to get better. That's the pursuit of a musician over their lifetime, is how do you constantly learn how to get better? So I'm not just taking Suno face value and all that. I'm using it in a way to inspire me in different ways. This is kind of like any new plugin or toy that I get that I'm gonna mess with. Like, these are like presets to me. They just happen to be higher quality presets than just like an old keyboard or something. Okay, so what I've got going on here, I'm going to layer up the kick, the snare, and the hi-hat. And then I'm going to try to use a lot of the Suno loop, but eventually at some point I'm going to find a loop that I like, and then I'm going to loop it throughout the song. This is closer to the beat making world than the live drummer playing it live all the way through method. But if you really wanted to, you could go through and spend time customizing it, changing it up throughout the whole song. But that's not the stuff that I normally do, so I'm not going to do that. So I've got a kick, I got a snare, and then I've got some little hi-hat loop. This last couple years of me working on this, I guess, like lo-fi R&B stuff, I love a lot of different genres, and this has been one that I've always wanted to kind of dive deeper into, but just haven't. I'm making myself kind of like stick to it a little bit further than I normally would. And, you know, I want to understand the chord progressions a little bit deeper. I want to understand like what kind of little frills and melodies and stuff like that they're doing. What I think Suno is really good at is helping me stay focused, by tracing the lines a little bit, having the bumpers up in the bowling alley, so to speak. Use it on a song that is close to what I started out with in my mind. Obviously, I wasn't thinking about this in full detail the way that AI made it. AI made it way better, of course. But I had this idea of how I wanted the chords to flow, just like the last video that I released. It's the same kind of idea. You know, I'm just exploring this to see if this can help me, keep me in this genre enough. Now, if I had somebody who produced like this all the time and was sitting down next to me, they could give me much better instructions. And if I really had the time and effort and energy, I could try to find somebody like that and hire them, and we could just sit here and do all that, and it would take a year, it would take years, and that's a great way to do it. But this is just something that I think steers you closer to where you want to go while messing around. I'm somebody who's been in the hip hop rap world for forever. Beats are my thing. Like that's literally what I've been doing for 20 plus years now. I would love to make my own samples and my own loops with my own instruments as much as I want to without having to worry about sample clearance or anything like that. You know, I understand that Suno has sample clearance issues as of right now, and it's, you know, everything's up in the air. The dust has not settled yet on how this is going to play out. My guess is that it's going to be so swept under the rug that there's going to be no way to fully trace it. Just like how somebody can take a Michael Jackson song and pretty much sample like 30 to 50 seconds of that song, put some drums behind it, put it on YouTube, put it on BeatStars, and still sell licensing for it. I mean, we're talking about one of the biggest artists of all time, and people are getting away with it. People act like this is all we need to do is just check this real quick and then we'll be able. No. In the future, it's going to be so developed into the sound that nobody's going to be able to know how to tell the difference. Nobody's going to know what to do about it. There's not going to be any way to figure it out on a broad level across the board. There will be people that don't use AI, and then they will get shut down somehow. Spotify will say, oh, this is AI, and then TuneCore will shut everything down and delete their entire existence and kill their career. And that sucks. That's really sad. We need to be careful with how we try to regulate things before we have the technology to properly do it. Okay, so let's see what we got here so far. I'm just working on the drums. I've got the hi-hat, the snare, and the kick. This probably isn't perfect. I've just been talking the whole time, not listening to it. Now, if we were to take Suno and put it behind it, not bad right off the bat. Now, one thing that would be kind of nice is I would actually like to sample the beatboxing stuff that's going on here. So what I'm going to do is actually like, now just to keep things nice, I'm going to layer some of this stuff here. I don't care about using all this. Again, we're sampling here, so I'm not trying to keep anything like original. I want to take from it however I want, and then go like that. You know, just little highlights. Let's put a little gate on there. Let's use this. So we're going to use... I know this is a long video, guys. You're gonna have to bear with me on this, or you've already left. It's okay. By the way, I got all these drums from Splice. You can kind of see here on the side. I pay for this, so you could get drum samples. You could use loops and all sorts of other things. I usually recommend just using this for drums, but you could do the same thing here where you find song starters that are the same, which have a bunch of instrumentation made by real humans. So you could kind of support them that way. So what I just did here was I kind of recreated the chords a little bit. And then at this ending part, this turnaround point, I was having a hard time trying to figure out what that was. So I just went ahead and took the audio piece right here and then dragged it onto the MIDI track. And I know there's a lot of DAWs that can do this kind of stuff. You could also export the MIDI. This one kind of messed up. I don't really feel like dealing with that. So I just kind of took this audio clip and put it into the MIDI and then started adjusting it to feel normal slightly. So this is what I have so far here. As you can see, it's not perfect at all. What I would like to do is edit this up a little bit more. We're going to keep on going for a couple more instruments, but I just want you to know that my mind as a producer is racing in a lot of different directions. So it's really hard for me to stay focused on one particular thing. So it's really nice to have this outline when I'm trying to learn a different genre. If I did this type of stuff my whole life and I was really just in this genre the whole time, this would seem like insanely simple, way too simple. And there's all sorts of little things that are going on, but you know what? This is fine for me and what I'm trying to do. So I went away for a little while, worked on the song, and we have a bunch of stuff here. So let's go through real quick and I'll show you exactly what I did. Pretty much the only thing AI right now in the song is what I layered behind the drums. I'll play that for you right now. It's nice to have something like this to add a little bit of texture that is moving in the background. I added a bunch of static drums here that layer it, but those are going to be the main drums that stick out. So having something like this behind it is actually kind of nice to glue things together, so to speak. Let's hear it with all the drums together. All right, then we have the Rhodes. Let's see here. Got the light compression on there just to kind of tame the peaks a little bit. And then we've got the bass line. Whew. Okay, so I tried to play the bass. I have an actual bass guitar here. Problem is that the battery's dead on it. And I could not get the right signal. It wasn't working right, so I just defaulted to using everybody's favorite plugin, Expand 2, to have those nice plasticky, fake sounding bass lines. But I cut off a lot of the high end, so you hear mostly the low end, and that kind of hides it a little bit. That's what this sounds like here. So just adding a little bit of something to it. But I couldn't give up there on the whole guitar idea, so I added some electric guitar. This is basically direct in using a little bit of guitar rig stuff. Nothing crazy. I didn't really spend a lot of time on it. I didn't have a pick, so I had to use some loose change as a pick instead, which gives it a very unique texture. Let's just say I went for that on purpose. But it's kind of nice actually having something that doesn't sound normal. You know, and these little, you'll hear it here, the little scratching sounds of the pick just adds something different to it. I actually went through here and I messed with the timing. Same with anything else on here. But I didn't want it to feel quantized. I wanted this to feel organic and real. So this is what this sounds like. Nothing special, just adding those little layers of texture, and I've got them pretty low, so they're not super obvious, but they just give you something else to fit in the mix. Since I'm not very good at playing all these complex differences that AI could play, you'll hear the AI version has a ton of different variabilities going on, and that's what good players can do. But I'm not a very good player. I'm just learning. I'm always trying to grow, but I'm not an expert. I'm more of a jack of all trades when it comes to production, master of none, unfortunately. Okay, so the next thing we have here is we have synthesizers. I always got to add some synths in there. Let's see what these sound like here. To kind of add something else in there. What else do we got? We got some other little extras that I'm adding. A lot of times I like to add a lot of stuff, even if it doesn't quite fit, or, you know, maybe I could use some of these things throughout the song randomly. Maybe it only happens once. Maybe it's in verse 2 for like 3 seconds. But I stack up everything in this stage of production here. So the next synth that I got. Little bit of call and response, nothing special. And then, of course, I had to add my analog synth here, my TO5. I love this thing. It's got a lot of different sonic choices to use. Check this out here. Whatever that sound is called is what that is. And then on that turnaround point, I wanted to add something that just helped with the motion of it just slightly. Yep, little bits of texture. Not trying to change the world here. I'm just trying to add those little subtle emotional points so it helps with that turnaround. Let's see here. Then we have some transitional effects, you know, just like some simple hits. A little bit of reverse stuff. Wow, impressive. Now, if you guys remember the beatbox Suno rendition that it did that I was talking about, there's some cool little vocal harmonies in the background, and I wanted to do something similar to that. Check this out. And then I did. Okay, so normally in this situation, what I like to do is I'll go through and melodyne everything, make sure everything is kind of nice and in tune, not overly tuned. I want this to feel live again, but to me, it's a big deal for this to not sound too blurry. Right now it sounds kind of blurry, and that's just because my pitches are all over the place. I could have spent time really trying to perfect it, but I got other things to do. I'm just laying some stuff down. I don't really care. So I'm putting this down like that, and I just tune them up a little bit. Makes EQing so much easier. A lot of times, the more out of tune things are, the more it makes things feel foggy. Makes you want to reach for an EQ to kind of like clean up the muddiness or fogginess or whatever you want to call it, so you don't have to go as heavy in that. Let's hear the whole thing. The thing with me in production is like, I just don't care that much. I'll just try out a bunch of different stuff, see what works. Sometimes things that are wrong also work. We're not trying to be perfectionists here. We're just trying to feel something. And we're trying to make somebody feel something. We're trying to make the audience feel something. Yeah, let's go to final conclusions. So let's talk about how I feel about this so far. Obviously, you're seeing that I'm trying to make my own parts, add my own melodies, do it my own way. And a lot of times, such as the bass line, is not going to sound as good as the Suno version, obviously. What I was talking about in the last video is I always think of this genre or style in my head that I want to go towards. And then as I start making it, I get distracted or things are going on. I have to go talk to somebody or go to do some sessions, and that feeling starts fading away, and it's hard to really tap into that. And I think Suno is a great way to kind of create, if you know what you're doing, you could kind of create the sound that you want to go for and then bring it in here and actually elaborate and break it down however you want. My goal is to not listen to the original Suno version too much, because I don't want it to influence all the little melodies and the little things that I could add in there too much. But I am okay with taking influence with some of like the vocal ideas and stuff like that. If this was something that I was going to sell to somebody, I would let them know exactly what I did first. I don't believe that it's a good idea to do Suno stuff and try to hide it and be undercover about it. It's like, you could see the literal percentage of Suno influence that's on here. It's just good to do clean business with people. If I say to somebody that I'm working with, like, hey, this one, it was influenced by Suno a little bit, and here's the Suno version, and here's what I made. Do you still want it? If they're like, yeah, sure. Then I'm like, okay. Well, just to let you know, some of these ideas are not copyrightable technically, as of right now. And I know the landscape is constantly changing. So, it's just good to be cautious when you go with these ideas. It might make you not want to do Suno as this type of option, just because it's blurry when you're talking about actually doing business with people. Now, I'm an audio engineer first and foremost, and I like to do clean business. I don't like to sweep things under the rug and not be honest about what's happening. And I know right now in the landscape, there's people that love it, people that hate it. So what I want to do is just maintain transparency. I want you guys to do the same thing. If you're using Suno, just say it. It's like, obviously it's something that's controversial and people get really upset about it, or they're absolutely in love with it. As of right now, it's just good to be honest. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that. Will this be something that I continue using in the future? Me personally, I'm not sure, because I love it. I love how it gives me focus, and I could use it in a way that teaches me how these genres work on on a more in-depth level. And it's actually nice that it's not a song that's already released and out there, at least that I know of, you know, just because it's basing off of my original feeling that I have. And I would honestly, if I were to use this in the future, spend more time on my original idea, which would be like beatboxing, or even just adding some drums first and adding like a couple melodies, to then see if it's something that it can improve on and help inspire me further from. I really see the only value for me as a learning tool, meaning I'm trying to learn this genre and how these chord progressions usually work and how that feels. So because it's not something I do every day, it's a really easy way to kind of like help me out from that perspective. But honestly, I would love to be able to do this without any sort of influence at all. And I probably could get somewhere, but it wouldn't be the same. So for now, I just think it's a great teaching tool. And that's how I want to use it. Will I continue paying for this after the first month? Still on the fence on that. I'm not really sure, but it is nice. It is awesome to hear your potential ideas get imagined as if there's a band. I don't know if you saw that video with Jacob Collier, or what's his name? This guy that's like a music prodigy. He was conducting an orchestra with just his melodies and telling them, oh yeah, just hit that note, I hit that note. And then they all had to play what he wanted.
Here's what we're gonna do. Tuba. Where's my tuba? Hey, my man on the tuba up here, come on. So, can you play? Yeah, I know. We love low notes. Okay, so you have 3 notes to play, and the first one is E flat. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So that one lasts for 4 beats, and then you play a G for 2 beats and an F for 2 beats. Ready? 3, go. Okay, that is magnificent. Do we have a bass trombone? Come on. Okay, so bass trombone, if you play the same thing but up a 5th from there, so like B flat, D, C, can you hear that? 3, go. That's almost too hefty for me, actually. Bass trombone, can you go up the octave? 2, 3, go. I like that amount of heft. Okay, stop there.
That sounds like a real luxury that we all are not going to be able to experience in our lifetimes. That would be cool, except you don't have to hire, 50 people about it. If you like what I'm doing, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, comment a million times in a row on my video how much you love what I'm doing or how much you hate what I'm doing. I'm going to make a couple more of these, so stay tuned. And yeah, I'll talk to you later.